What's going on, everyone? Welcome into the FantasyPros Dynasty Football Podcast presented by Reality Sports Online. My name is Kyle Yates, and I am your host, and I'm joined, as always, by Trevor Sikkema. He can be found on Twitter at Tampa Bay Trey. Trevor, how are you doing on this fine Tuesday morning?
I'm doing great. Lightning did not win their second consecutive Stanley Cup, which I thought might be the case. I thought we were going to get the first sweep in the Stanley Cup final since I think like 1998. But alas, they did not do that. Montreal captured one game, and good for them. And now Tampa gets to win in game 5. At least that's what I'm telling myself. I'm not worried at all. I'm not worried. Do I sound worried? I'm not worried. Of course not.
No, you're not worried. We were talking about this, and I texted you yesterday. I was like, how insufferable are you going to be on the podcast if Tampa wins this tonight, right, on Monday? And so I'm at least thankful that they did not win it last night, because I get a break. I get a break from what your reaction would be on the podcast until we record, next week or whatever. So hopefully Tampa wins it, though, here in game 5, if not game 6. Man, if game 7, what are your nerves going to be like if it goes to game 7, if Montreal somehow, claws their way back into this?
Listen, all I'm saying is I don't want the series to go to 7, but if I do, I've already been promised a ticket. So I get to go if they go to game 7. But like you said, I'm almost to the point where I don't want to go. Like, I'd rather them just win it early, obviously, and I don't get the game 7 experience because I would rather just get to celebrate the championship. But if they do happen to go to game 7, your boy will be there, and we'll be able to talk about it the day after on the podcast.
All right. Well, hey, this is not a hockey podcast. This is a fantasy football podcast. So let's get into the discussion for today. Before we do that, though, want to remind everyone about the giveaway that we've got going on, courtesy of our friends at Pristine Auction. That is a signed Cam Akers helmet. All you have to do to enter is go over to Apple Podcasts or CastBox, leave a review for the show, then head over to fantasypros.com/dynasty contest. Fill out the short form there, attach a screenshot of your review to be entered. Additionally, for this one, as I mentioned on the previous podcast, subscribers to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/fantasypros get an additional 3 entries into this giveaway. So when you go over to fantasypros.com/dynasty contest, you fill out that form there, attach a screenshot of your YouTube subscription as well, the fact that you are subscribed to our YouTube channel, and you get those additional 3 entries. So make sure to get that taken care of today. Again, that is a signed Cam Akers helmet, courtesy of our good friends at Pristine Auction. All right, Trevor, let's look at, this is rookie season, right? We all got rookie fever, where dynasty rookie drafts are still happening here as we move into the preseason and later on into the offseason. So we still got rookie fever. And in our eyes, we're looking through rose-colored glasses here. Every rookie is set to break the receiving record, set to break the rushing record, right? So what we wanted to do here is come to the table and bring 2 names each here that we're saying, let's look at this from a realistic perspective here. Let's pump the brakes just a little bit here and say, we might want to temper our expectations for these guys as we head into their rookie season. So I'm going to turn this over to you first here. Who is a name that you want to highlight here from this rookie class that you want to say, let's just calm down just a little bit before we get carried away?
And, there's plenty of reason to be excited about both of these players that I'm going to name. I'm sure both of the players that you are going to name as well. I don't want to make it seem like, hey, we're totally betting against these guys, but I do think it's a good exercise to at least make sure there is some tempering of expectations, to know that you're not going to way overdraft these players just because you're very excited about them. I remember the first NBA fantasy draft that I ever did, like 15 years ago, I drafted entirely rookies to my team because I was that excited about how they were going to be. And then I realized, they're still rookies. So it's just, that was just kind of like my little introduction into, okay, even though we're very hyped up about what these rookies could be in the future, that doesn't always necessarily mean year 1. So the one guy that I want to talk about and I want to start talking about is Kadarius Toney. I love Kadarius Toney, right? I went to the University of Florida, graduated from the University of Florida. I've watched every single game that Kadarius Toney has played at Florida. And the reason why I'm kind of saying pump the brakes is because there's a lot of people who watched his tape last year, and for good reason. Look at what Kadarius Toney was able to do at Florida and say, how many other wide receivers in college football can do what he does? And there aren't many. He's such a unique player, and that's why you get so excited about him. That's why Dave Gettleman selected him in the first round, which is a move that I did not think was going to happen. Him going to the New York Giants, I thought he was destined to be a Jacksonville Jaguar at pick number 25, but he ends up going before that at number 20.
So did Jacksonville.
I know they did, and we're going to get to some more talk about that in a second. But the reason why I would say pump the brakes a little bit on Kadarius Toney, if you're to the moon about him and how unique his talent is yes, there aren't many receivers built like him who could do the things that he does, but I got to say, the first 3 years that he was at Florida, he was simply just an athlete. They were just trying to throw him out there in the backfield, in the slot, out to the sideline, however they possibly could to get his athleticism on the field. But he really had not honed into being a receiver. This past year, we saw more of that, but he's still got a ways to go, especially when it comes to going up against professional defensive backs every single week. And so where Kadarius Toney has a lot of talent that you love, and I think the future for him could be really good, I think the Giants are going to try to manufacture those touches and targets for him a lot because of, like I said, how specific his skill set is and how unique it is to the team. I don't know if he's the polished receiver that's going to give you the return on investment that you want. You can convince yourself that he's going to get volume even in a wide receiver group that has Kenny Golladay, John Ross, Sterling Shepard, Darius Slayton, Dante Pettis, right? You can convince yourself that none of those guys are Kadarius Toney. And I would agree with you in ways, but I'm not so sure Toney is there as a full-time receiver himself to garner big-time fantasy return this year. So it might be a little bit down the road, but I think it's still going to be a process. Toney is still growing into what it takes to be a real nuanced, full-time, big target wide receiver. So that's why I would say just pump the brakes on him a little bit. There's a lot of development that I still think has to happen with Toney going into the NFL.
Do you think that he kind of follows the Mecole Hardman trajectory? Now, very, very different offenses, right, from Kansas City to the New York Giants. But as far as like that trajectory where we said it's going to take a little bit here for Hardman to develop into something, he's got the athleticism, he's got the speed, very similar to Toney. Do you think that that's kind of the trajectory that we can expect here for Kadarius Toney?
I think in the sense that you always try to draft athletes, you want to always get as much speed on the field as possible, but it's often a process to get there, right? I mean, Mecole Hardman was that way. He was simply just an extremely fast wide receiver who now has really developed more into receiver. But we've seen the time that it takes to get there. And I think that that's where we're at with Kadarius Toney. Last year was very, very encouraging. I felt like before last season, I mean, Toney was absolutely a day 3 prospect. I mean, he wasn't even close to the polished receiver that you needed him to be before last year. I didn't think he should have been a first round prospect, but I thought, yeah, second round. Okay. A lot of teams could take a stab at this guy. So I thought he was a little bit overdrafted in the first round just because, again, how far I think he still has to go as a wide receiver. There's reason to believe in him. All I'm saying is you might want to pump the brakes a little bit because in order to consistently get on the field in the NFL, you got to do a lot more than just be an athlete. And I think that he's still a little bit of ways away from proving that.
Absolutely. All right, so for my first player here, as far as a player that I am going to be pumping the brakes on, that is Elijah Moore, the wide receiver out of Ole Miss, now with the New York Jets. And the reason here is, yes, I was lower on Elijah Moore than the consensus, but that's not what's necessarily causing me to bring him up in this discussion. It is the fact that this is a pretty crowded receiving core. And with Jamison Crowder returning here on a restructured contract, we know that he's going to be on this roster in 2021. And I can't see this coaching staff taking Jamison Crowder off the field for a rookie wide receiver, no matter the hype that we're seeing from out of Jets camp with Elijah Moore. And I think that Elijah Moore can be a very, very solid fantasy option down the road, but I just can't see that happening here in year one. Okay, well then can Elijah Moore play on the outside? In my opinion, I think it's going to be a very, very difficult transition for him to play on the outside just because of what I saw on tape at Ole Miss. So now, okay, whose spot is he taking? Well, he's not taking Corey Davis' spot on the outside. And then Keelan Cole, this regime brought him in on a 1-year, $5 million contract. And for all the hype that Elijah Moore has been getting, Keelan Cole has been getting just as much here out of Jets camp. So okay, well then Denzel Mims, is Denzel Mims completely out of the picture? There's enough here going up against Elijah Moore. What I just want to say, there are a lot of people that are very, very excited for what Moore can be, but I think we're going to have to wait here just a little bit until we see either Jamison Crowder off this team or deal with injury again, which has happened in the past. And I think that's when we could see Elijah Moore step in and take over this starting slot receiver role. I just don't think that we're going to see him outright beat out Jamison Crowder here in camp. So that's my reasoning for pumping the brakes here on Elijah Moore. Trevor, let's go to your second player here that you were wanting to pump the brakes on.
Okay, my second player is Travis Etienne. And I told you we were going to talk a little bit about the Jaguars later, and here we are. I mentioned that I think that Urban Meyer and the Jaguars really wanted to draft Kadarius Toney at 25. And I think that they were very shocked when Toney wasn't there. Now they select Travis Etienne, and I know why they do it. They do it for the speed element. But I think if you listen to how Urban Meyer talked after the draft, He talked about a lot of different roles that Travis Etienne could play. But to me, it was almost like he was revealing, we didn't know what to do when Toney was off the board, so we just drafted a very fast player, because they talked about, you draft a running back in the first round. Does that mean you're giving up on James Robinson? And Urban Meyer goes, no, I have a lot of respect for what James Robinson did last year. James Robinson could be the starting running back, and Carlos Hyde is there. Carlos Hyde had his best years at Ohio State when, you guessed it, Urban Meyer was his head coach. So he is there as well. They talked about Travis Etienne being like the third down back right off the bat. Like he's an incredible third down back. But listen, I covered the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I got to see Dare Ogunbowale be a third down back out of nowhere for that team over the last couple of years before he's now moved over to Jacksonville. Now, I'm not going to say that Dare is a more talented running back than Travis Etienne, but I will tell you that Dare does a lot of the little things that you need to do to be a third down back, to get on the field on third down. He does a lot of those things really well. He's a great blocker. He's got reliable hands. He knows where he needs to be for the quarterback. All of that's very, very important on third down. And you're pinning that veteran third down experience against a rookie. And it's just, it doesn't always flow to that point. And so I think that even Travis Etienne being, he'll be the third down back for sure. I don't know about that. And then also the big area where I think that there might be a little bit of a drawback to Etienne, at least right now, is, they've talked about him playing as a slot receiver. Laviska Shenault's already that guy. They already have Laviska Shenault. Laviska Shenault was exactly what Urban Meyer is talking about with Travis Etienne at Colorado, and he did it better than almost anybody in college football did. A lot of people say, look how Ohio State used Curtis Samuel when Urban Meyer was there. That's how they are saying they could use Travis Etienne. Laviska Shenault's that guy. Laviska Shenault's already been that guy. He's got that experience. He's got that confidence. He knows what he's doing in such a hybrid running back wide receiver role. And so I don't think the Jaguars are lying about how much they want to use Travis Etienne. I think that they're going to try to use him as much as they possibly can. But I think that Etienne, there's a chance that he might be one of these learning cases, learning scenarios for Urban Meyer, that it's not as easy as just putting athletes on the field in the NFL as it was in college football. And so I think that there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve here with Urban Meyer as a head coach and how he is using Travis Etienne, because if you want to use him as a receiver, you already probably got a better one in Laviska Shenault. If you wanted to use him as a running back, well, it's a running back room that's already crowded. It's got a lot of experience and has a lot of carved out roles already for exactly what that would be. So Etienne, very talented player. I like him. I like him being with Urban Meyer. I just think it's going to be a little bit of a process here. It might be a slower process than people think for him to get the most of his talent on the field.
Sure. And I think, the arguments that you make about Dare Ogunbowale and Laviska Shenault, well, it's like, okay, they already had those guys on the roster. So why in the first round, when you had some needs at other key positions, did you spend that pick? And yes, it could have been panic that you thought Kadarius Toney was going to be there. But even if that is the case, then they were going to be drafting Kadarius Toney to take over the role that Laviska Shenault occupied, right? So it's like, even though you did have Laviska Shenault already on this roster, they made a significant investment here in a player who is not only just a speed demon, right? Like that's, I think the argument here is that Travis Etienne doesn't only just bring pure speed to the position. Like he is a very, very competent and capable receiver, which is crazy for a couple years ago, that famous quote where he's like, I'm uncomfortable catching the ball. And then he turns into a very, very solid receiver. And we know that he already has the chemistry with Trevor Lawrence. So that's the counter argument to that, right? Is like, okay, well, you already had these roles on the roster, and yet you still chose to invest in a very, very well-rounded and solid receiver, but then also someone who can step in and provide some spark to the offense in between the tackles as well.
I definitely hear you. And there's plenty of reason to believe in Travis Etienne and his talent. All I'm saying is it's not as streamlined as we might think. Wherever you want to place him on this Jaguars roster, I can give you legit competition for whatever you think Urban Meyer said that his role might be. And so that's why it's just like I said at the very beginning, this isn't a, hey, you should totally avoid these guys. It just might be pump the brakes kind of a thing. If you're drafted Travis Etienne early, you're probably drafting him and fully committing to him for the next couple of years in a dynasty format. You can't look at this 1 year and say, he wasn't getting the touches that I thought he was. We got to abandon ship on Travis Etienne. This might be something that year 2, year 3, the payoff's a lot better than it might be in year 1, just because of how the roster looks currently and how much of some rookie learning curve that Etienne might have himself jump into the NFL.
Sure. Okay, so my second player here really quickly is Terrace Marshall Jr., the wide receiver out of LSU, now with the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people that had Terrace Marshall within their top 5 receivers in this in the 2021 NFL draft. I did not. I had Terrace Marshall at wide receiver 10, I believe. So I was looking at him saying that there was a lot of boom bust to his game, where if he took the necessary steps forward, he was going to be a very, very good receiver, but there was a very low floor for him. Now he falls in the NFL draft, and that could be because of the injury. It could just be how the league valued him, right? Very similarly to Denzel Mims last year, right? Where Mims had some first round buzz, and then he ends up falling to around a very similar spot to where Terrace Marshall did. So I think with Marshall here, people still have some high expectations. They're saying, I've seen on Twitter that people saying that Terrace Marshall can lead this team in touchdowns right out of the gate here in his rookie season. And I wanted to say, like, let's pump the brakes here. We still got Christian McCaffrey. We've still got Robbie Anderson, who has chemistry with Sam Darnold. We've got DJ Moore, who, yes, he's not a high touchdown scorer, but he can soak up targets. So it's like, where is all this coming? Where is this volume that's going to be necessary for Terrace Marshall to be a fantasy relevant option right out of the gate? I think that we're going to have to wait a little bit, which I do think is good for his skill set. Like, he can take that time and develop as the fourth option on this roster, maybe even fifth behind Dan Arnold or Tommy Tremble, and he can take that time and develop into becoming that receiver that I thought he could be if he reaches his ceiling. So I just want to say, Terrace Marshall here, he's got his fans, but let's just pump the brakes here just a little bit heading into 2021.
I will eat the hottest chicken wing sauce on the show Hot Ones if Terrace Marshall Jr. leads the Carolina Panthers in touchdowns. I absolutely do not think that that's going to be the case. I think that he could be good. Obviously, he's reuniting with an offensive coordinator now who has experience with him, knows him well. But I mean, even in that offense, obviously, it was stacked with other receiving options, and Terrace Marshall was kind of the third, fourth best guy there. Okay, well, you look at the Carolina Panthers, and I think that it's going to run through DJ Moore. It's going to run through Christian McCaffrey. Robbie Anderson is still there. They're going to get the tight ends more involved. And so I'd be very shocked about that as well. If you're that high on Terrace Marshall, then yeah, I think you need to pump the brakes a little bit.
Yep, for sure. All right. So we said on the last podcast that this is the offseason. We're going to have some fun here. We're going to kick back here and we're just going to have some fun. So what we are doing on today's podcast, I'm really, really excited for this. We are doing a MCU character fantasy football draft. Okay. So what we are doing is we are building out a fantasy football lineup. We are doing 1 quarterback, 3 running backs, 3 wide receivers, a tight end, and a flex spot, comprised completely of characters within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, okay? So the rules for this and how we are building this lineup is that you still have to operate within the confines of the NFL game. Okay, so Thor, you can't put Thor at running back and then he, has his meow meow and just like flies to the end zone. He can't, jolt of lightning all the defenders and just walk into the end zone. Okay, he still has to operate within the confines of the game. So a high premium on athleticism, things like that. Okay,
but he could still be like obviously like super athletic and almost kind of like godlike.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
You just can't kill anyone. Right.
So sure, fair.
So that kind of, if you have a very, Bettis, if you have Bettis at running back, it's kind of like putting the Hulk at running back, that kind of thing. Okay. So, all right. So let's go into this. Do you want the 101 or do you want the 102 and with a snake format?
I'm going to do 101.
Okay.
I'm gonna do the first pick in the draft if that's okay with you. If that works for you.
Of course. I offered it to you. You go first.
I've got to go quarterback here. And I know that this is not typically what happens in drafts unless it is stacked towards the quarterback side. But I think we have some scarcity at the quarterback position. And maybe whoever you draft will prove me wrong. But because we are still trying to operate within the confines of the game itself, I'm going to go with Captain America, Steve Rogers, as my quarterback, because I feel like as long as the ball is in his hands, he's the super soldier. He's big, he's fast, he's strong. And just so everybody knows, a little bit of a reminder here, when he threw Thor's hammer to Spider-Man when he was trying to carry the gauntlet in Endgame back to the van, dude hit him right in stride, hit him on a dime. And so that's what I needed to see to make sure I got the downfield accuracy for Steve Rogers.
Showed up on film. Showed up on film.
Absolutely, yes.
All right. So, Captain America was at the top of my board here, but I had him for running back. So I did not have him at quarterback. I got a quarterback spot now that I can I can wait on. I've got a really solid pick here at quarterback I feel good about. Okay, so I am now up here at the 102. I've got back-to-back picks here, and let's go with size, man. I'm going Hulk here. Okay, I'm going to Hulk at running back.
Goal line stud.
Goal line, you're not stopping me. Like, no one is stopping Hulk at the goal line whatsoever. I can just hand the ball off to him time and time again, and he's going to pick up chunk gains. All right, so let's go Hulk here at my first running back spot here at the 102. All right, now up at the 103. I've got some really solid options here, but I feel like I can wait on running back and wide receiver because there are some really, really talented options. I've already talked about you filled your quarterback spot. I'm waiting on that one.
Okay.
Let's go Thanos. Okay? We know how big Thanos is, right? He's like something I'm going to look this up in a second. I think he's like 900 and something pounds.
Yeah, probably.
Let's go Thanos here at tight end.
I was going to say, we're not drafting offensive tackle. So where are you putting this man?
I'm having Thanos in the red zone, posting up in the end zone. And I'm just going to have my quarterback throw it up to him. And because he's so freaking tall and so freaking huge, no one's going to be able to stop him. So Thanos here to fill out my tight end spot. Hulk and Thanos to start my team, man.
Man, I going to be honest, Kyle. Didn't think you'd pick Thanos right there. I thought that I was going to get him later in the draft. I thought you were going to focus on just superheroes. I thought I was going to, thought I was going to get away with it there.
Thanos is 8'3". And 985 pounds.
Very casual, 8'3".
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. Okay. Yep. All right. Well, since you have Hulk and Thanos, that's basically the unguardable duo there. Okay. So I have Captain America at my quarterback spot. I'm gonna go running back here because fantasy titles are built through the bell cow running backs. I'm gonna go back to back. One's a super soldier. One sort of a super soldier, essentially a super soldier. I'm gonna go with Winter Soldier because I had to get Winter Soldier on my team. Right. Okay, we're talking about Bucky Barnes, post serum, Winter Soldier. Okay, so he is the
running back.
So he is the same super soldier. He's got the shiftiness, he's got the breakaway speed, he's got the tackle breaking ability. He has the arm that can physically stiff arm you into the core of the earth. Also, if you dump the ball off to him, he's also got the metal arm that can just clamp onto the football, so the catch percentage is going to be high. And next, I'm going to go with Black Panther. Black Panther, kind of the similar mold. He's not the super soldier in the sense that he has the serum, but when he becomes Black Panther and when he drinks what's the flower called?
I know what you're talking about.
What's the flower called? Okay, whatever it is. When he gets the superpower ability, again, it's very similar. Shiftiness, long speed. You can't tackle this dude. He'd be able to basically break any run wide open. And I think that he'd have a good set of hands as well. So I'm going to go back-to-back running backs there, Winter Soldier and Black Panther.
All right. Well, you took the next two guys on my board. So I had Winter Soldier and T'Challa right there. So, all right. Well, I'm going to keep going down my board here. I'm going to go Spider-Man, and I'm going to go Spider-Man at wide receiver.
Okay.
This is pretty self-explanatory, that he is going to be able to catch anything thrown his way. He's not going to be able to, shoot out his web and be able to reel in a catch that's or a throw that's 5 yards away, but with my quarterback, he won't need to. Spoiler alert. So, Spider-Man here at wide receiver, feel pretty good about that one. And then I am now thinking about what I want to do here. I don't know if you are going to have this guy even on your board.
Oh.
But I want to get him onto my roster.
Okay.
So I am going to go with Quicksilver here at running back.
Oh, man. That's a great pick.
Wanda's brother.
Yeah.
Has the super speed. He's going to... you're not catching him. Right? No, no one's catching him whatsoever. He's super fast.
Yeah.
So Quicksilver here at running back.
Man, that's a good pick. That's a really good pick.
I saw that as I was going through in my research. I was like, oh yeah, I got to make sure that I get him because unguardable.
I don't know who you're thinking you're going to get at quarterback. But
you're not taking him for any other position.
Other than oh wow, now I'm wondering. Is this a true flex spot or is this super flex? What are we doing?
Just no super flex.
Okay.
So let me go through. So you have Captain America at quarterback, Winter Soldier at running back, and T'Challa at running back. I have Hulk at running back, Quicksilver at running back, Spider-Man at wide receiver, and Thanos at tight end.
Strong. All right, I'm gonna pick Thor at tight end then. So we got the size, we got the speed. You get him off the line of scrimmage. Reminds me of, think of Greg Olsen, except for, if Greg Olsen was a god. So, I think that's where we're going with there. And then for my flex spot, I've just simply, I've got to pull an Urban Meyer here, and I've got to get athleticism on the field. So whether they're, you call him a running back, a wide receiver, whatever, I'm going to take Captain Marvel. I got to get the athleticism on the field. So we're going Thor at tight end, and then we're going Captain Marvel at the flex. The true flex can be anything, can be running back. The Travis Etienne, they've often said.
Do you want to fill out your running back spot, or any of the wide receivers, or just go straight to the flex?
I'm just going straight to the flex right now because I have a streamlined plan for what could be just my next running back and my next wide receiver.
Okay. All right. Let's go ahead. Ooh, do I want to get the quarterback? No, I can wait on it.
I cannot wait until you have to leave this for the very last pick to give people the reason to wait because I have no idea. I have no idea who this is.
All right. Let's go ahead and let's get some size at wide receiver, right? We've got Spider-Man, shifty, going to catch everything. He's my slot receiver underneath, reeling everything, right? So let's go size at the wide receiver position. We're going Groot. All right?
Oh, I didn't think you'd pick Groot.
Groot at wide receiver. We're going to get that size. If throwing it to Thanos at 8'3" doesn't work out, I'm going to Groot here, man. The hands might not be the best. I don't know what Groot's receiving ability is going to be like, but I feel like it's just going to be enough to distract the defense away here and draw some attention, and I feel like he can reel in some stuff here or there. So I'm going to go with Groot at wide receiver for my first pick here, and then I am going to go... I am going to go and fill up my final running back spot.
Okay.
I'm just bringing some intensity to the position, man. I feel like this guy has some fight in him. He is just going to bowl over anyone who tries to get in his way. I'm going, again, Guardians of the Galaxy here. I'm going Drax at running back here.
He was on my board. He might have been next.
Drax at running back. So now I have got my running backs filled out. I've got 2 wide receivers, and then my tight end spot. So you still have 1 running back, all 3 of your wide receiver spots left.
Yep. Okay. If we were in a standard league, like touchdowns mean the most, you've got Drax and Hulk and Thanos, and I don't even know if my uber athletic team could be. I might have to give it to the air. Okay. Very happy that I'm getting these next 2 players with this pick. For my third running back selection, I'm going to stick with the Black Panther movie train. And I'm going to go with Killmonger. So I'm going to make Killmonger, Michael B. Jordan's character, my third running back here.
Even have him on my board. Good pick.
See, that's where you got to think outside the box because he also becomes a super soldier kind of a being. And so, all right, so I got Black Panther, I got Winter Soldier, I got Killmonger
across the board.
You really do love to see it. Wide receiver. We're going full volume. We're going targets. We're going Deebo Samuel 2020 average depth of target here. We're going shiftiness of Black Widow. Give it to me, baby.
Yep,
the slot wide receiver, right? Just like a little bit of separation, the shimmy shake. She's trained as an assassin. You just love to see it. Just dump it off to her. You get like 2-3 yards. Just moving the chains. It's fine. You love it. So I'm going full targets here with Black Widow as my first wide receiver.
Yep. All right. Good pick. That was at the top of my board. I am going to get the final wide receiver spot out of the way here. Okay. And I am going with, again, Guardians of the Galaxy here. Very similarly to Black Widow. I'm going to go with Gamora here. I'm going to go Gamora at wide receiver. Very similar skill set. Again, bring some intensity there. We know that she's off defending the universe, so she's got to have that intensity. I will go Gamora here for my final wide receiver spot.
I didn't think you'd snipe that from me.
Ooh, let's go, man. All right, and then I have my flex spot. You already told me that I can't take my quarterback until the last one, so I'm going to hold. All right. Do I want size or do I want to steal a pick from you? Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna steal a pick from you. I can't let you have all the super soldiers here. I'm gonna go John Walker. He's a little bit of a loose cannon here, right? Obviously, Captain America from Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Oh, okay.
Spoiler alert to anyone here. Sorry about that. But John Walker here. to fill out my flex spot. Very similar to the reasoning for everything that you've got with Captain America, Winter Soldier. Again, a little bit of a loose cannon, but I feel like with the rest of my core of my team, I can rein him in. So I will go John Walker here at the flex.
Okay. All right. Okay.
All right. Your final 2 picks. Again, well, here, let me read through your roster really quick. So quarterback, you have Captain America. Running back, you have Winter Soldier, Black Panther, and Killmonger. Wide receiver, you have Black Widow, and then you have 2 wide receiver spots left open. Your tight end spot is Thor, and then flex is Captain Marvel. I have my quarterback spot remaining. That will be the last pick here. I've got Hulk, Quicksilver, Drax at running back, Spider-Man, Groot, and Gamora at wide receiver, and then Thanos at the tight end spot, and John Walker at the flex.
Okay, I have a question before I make my final few picks here.
Yeah.
Like, could we draft Iron Man? And if we do, are we drafting him like with the suit, or are we drafting like Tony? Because
so I was thinking about. I don't even have Iron Man on my board.
I didn't
was like,
either.
well, if he can't use like all of his weapons,
right?
Then what's kind of the point? Like maybe he could bowl people over, right? Like he's going to be hard to bring down, but that's kind of the only draw.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So then I'm just going to ask you straight up. Then, if I pick Ant-Man, can I make him big? I thought no. I thought no.
So I have Scott Lang on my board.
Okay.
I do not have Ant-Man.
Okay, then no.
But
then I'm
Scott
not.
Lang does bring some shiftiness, right?
He does.
Thief. Like he can. Or what does he call himself? He doesn't call himself a thief. What does he call himself?
I can't remember. I can't remember. This is actually really good.
Burglar. I think he calls himself a burglar. Okay. Anyway, so I just have Scott Lang.
Okay. So I believe final 2 picks here.
Yes,
for my last 2 wide receiver spots. I'll go a little similar to Black Widow. I'm going to go with Hawkeye because, similar kind of. Please tell me this is your quarterback.
This is my quarterback. Trevor.
Why was he your Hold up. Why was he your quarterback?
Deadly accurate. What are you talking about? Why is he my quarterback? He's deadly accurate.
He's deadly accurate with a bow and arrow. What's he gonna do? Is he gonna pierce the football?
Those skills translate. We're talking about traits here. That will translate.
You actually are. You are very correct. You are correct.
Why did you pick him for a wide receiver? He's
shifty, dude.
What does he bring to the table?
He's got that like training. I don't know. He's like shifty, similar to Black Widow. They're the same kind of character.
My spirit just left my body.
So I'm gonna
freaking worse. I don't have anyone else on my board for quarterback.
I'm sweating right now. Okay, so Hawkeye wide receiver, and then outside the box. I thought that was going to be an anticlimactic pick, and then we were going to get to another one, but it turned out to actually be very exciting. So I'm glad that I did it. The last pick that I have is, I believe her character's name is Ghost. Okay, she is the villain / not exactly a villain from Ant-Man and the Wasp. Where she can...
Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
Oh, okay. So when you watch this, you will be like, okay, this is why this was a good pick. Could have been used as a running back, but essentially there are moments where her matter, like as a human, like her atoms just kind of like split, and people can just like either like fall through her, or she can completely go through walls or anything. So I'm talking Madden elusiveness 99 kind of a thing. So I'll pick her as my 3rd wide receiver here. So I got...
Oh my word.
Hawkeye and Ghost.
I'm not kidding you. I don't have anyone else on my board for quarterback. All right, so this is the final pick. So I'm just gonna. Okay, so I've got Ultron, but I've got him at wide receiver. Nebula at running back. Falcon, Scott Lang, Star-Lord, Korg, and Lady Sif. That's the rest of my board.
Who else do we have?
There was like really no one else that I. Oh, you know what I could do?
Yeah. All right.
You know what? He can use it. He can use his suit to have a cannon of an arm.
Iron Man? He can. That's within the rules of the game.
That's within the rules of the game.
It's true.
It's better than having Ultron as my freaking quarterback.
Yeah, I wasn't. Right. Ultron probably wouldn't be great. Yeah.
Nope. All right. I'm gonna go Iron Man here as my final pick there at quarterback. Okay. I was not thinking about him, but again, because I had Hawkeye and I freaking sniped me. I can't believe that you did that. Okay. All right. This
is a preview of our actual Dynasty Fantasy League that you and I are starting soon.
Yeah. Yep. That's happening on Friday. You can't snipe me like you just did.
Yeah, we gotta let the people know that we're in that league. So because we're gonna be talking about it a lot here on this podcast.
Yeah. So sneak preview, we'll be talking about it a lot. Really, really exciting league that we've got going on. Trevor and I have put together this incredible league as an invitational for the podcast. So we've got guys like Field Yates, Josh Norris, Brett Coleman, Adam Rank,
Brandon
Michael
Thorne,
Jr., Brandon Thorne, a ton of other just incredible people in this league. And so this draft will be kicking off this Friday. So ton of fun. Cannot wait for that to start. But I cannot believe, oh my word, Trevor. All right, so final rosters here. At quarterback, I had Iron Man. At running back, I had Hulk, Quicksilver. Shut up. Hulk, Quicksilver, Drax at running back. Spider-Man, Groot, and Gamora at wide receiver. Thanos at tight end, and then John Walker at the flex. Trevor had Captain America at quarterback, Winter Soldier, T'Challa, Killmonger at running back, Black Widow, Hawkeye, and Ghost at wide receiver, and then Thor at tight end and Captain Marvel at the flex spot. So we're going to be putting out a graphic here over on social media, so make sure that you either on the YouTube channel, in the comments, you drop and let us know which team you think is going to win. Over on Twitter, reach out to us at Tampa Bay Trey, at Kyle Y NFL. Make sure that you guys interact with us on this. This was a ton of fun for me to do, except for getting sniped on Hawkeye. So would love to hear how you guys enjoyed it. Trevor, I hate you. We're done with the podcast.
We had a good run, brother.
It was a good run. It was a good run. Oh, my word. All right. Well, thank you so much to Reality Sports Online for sponsoring today's podcast. Make sure to head over to realitysportsonline.com to learn more about what they've got going on there. Trevor?
Yep.
I hope that the Tampa Bay Lightning lose now.
Wow, that's too far.
No, I don't mean that. I don't mean that. That was a cheap shot. I'm just kidding.
You got to end the podcast before you say other things you're going to regret.
Before our relationship is completely fractured. All right. Thank you so much again for listening, guys. For Trevor Sikkema, I'm Kyle Yates, and we'll see you next time. Looking for useful content, fantasy-relevant information, and the data that can help your team win? Then make sure to subscribe to the FantasyPros YouTube channel. And while you're at it, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at FantasyPros so we can help you dominate your league all season long.